As part of my work agreement at one of the universities I work for, I must participate in this so-called First Nations Cultural Capabilities Training. Just as this guy is blowing some smoke in this smoking ceremony, someone was blowing some smoke when designing this training material. Understanding the importance of First Nations cultural capabilities at uni. Of course, they do the obligatory acknowledgement of the traditional custodians. The module is approximately 60 minutes in duration. It took me at least that long, mainly because I was taking all these screenshots to share with you in this video. It is designed to inform and empower you towards culturally appropriate work practices and building and maintaining respectful relationships and partnerships with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders, peoples and communities. My first thought is, why does the university think that only Aboriginal culture needs a special explanation about it? If I was Aboriginal, I'd be insulted by all this. Not only do they think I need a special module about me, they also need to force everybody in the university to participate. They feel the need to teach non-Indigenous people how to approach me, how to talk to me, how to not offend me, like I'm some sort of creature from another world. It's a divisive joke. But the university keep pushing this garbage. To be clear, I'm not calling traditional Aboriginal culture garbage, just this forced cultural capabilities training about our fellow Australians. Anyway, let's see a sample of some of the training. First of all, you need to know the difference between acknowledgement of country and welcome to country. You know, all the stuff Aussies love to hear constantly. I don't know about you, but I love being welcomed to my own country at every possible opportunity. Which of the following is not one of the purposes of the university's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultural protocols? This is the correct answer: to control and restrict the fundamental rights, freedoms and movements of non-Indigenous people across all areas of society. The fact they felt the need to even mention this means that's what many people are thinking. Equality is no longer the goal. That was already attained. They're pushing this so hard now that it's going too far the other way. We're elevating Indigenous Australians above everyone else. And that's a recipe for disaster. It creates resentment. It encourages tribalism. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. A teacher is designing a learning framework which will encourage the explicit use and practice of Indigenous knowledge in the teaching curriculum, although the teacher is unable to locate appropriate references or advices for using the knowledge. Can the teacher still use this information? The correct answer is shown on screen. Yes, although the teacher should consult with relevant Indigenous groups for the purpose of ensuring interests and knowledge are recognised and protected in accordance with the protocols and Australian law. So basically, it doesn't matter if you don't have references. As long as you consult with an appropriate Indigenous person who agrees with you, then you can use whatever information you want. Yes, this is tertiary level education in Australia in 2024. I wonder if engineers or scientists could get away with this. They go on about how we have to engage with Aboriginal people differently. There are social and political barriers which have marginalised Indigenous groups throughout history. They spelt Indigenous wrong, by the way. That's just plain disrespectful. I'm not joking. I know students who are marked down for such errors. There's other lesser-known barriers, such as intergenerational traumas. I wonder if they've got a reference for that. And traditional Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander speech patterns known as Aboriginal English. Here's a couple of examples. What does E or im mean? Can you guess? It means he, she, him, her or it. That's kind of useful because you don't have to worry about misgendering somebody because it's all the same word. What does "ouse deadly" mean? It means that is awesome. What are the university trying to say here? Is it okay for Indigenous professors to speak this way in class? I'm not sure what they're getting at. They go on. Language bias, although largely implicit, is just as powerful and forces Aboriginal people to navigate linguistic imperialism daily. Basically, they're saying that Indigenous people have been forced to speak English by our colonial ancestors, and Aboriginal English is their way to reclaim power over the language, also called linguistic reappropriation, or some other academic BS. To me, it just sounds like slang, which every other person on the planet also uses to some extent. The training tells us to consider our own bias. It is important to always reflect on our own cultural biases and standpoints before we engage with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and communities. Again, it's as if Aboriginal people are so different from the rest of us that we have to take special steps before engaging with them. It's very disparaging, I think. Be authentic. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people place high value on honesty and transparency in decision-making processes. I think we could just delete that first part and write, people place high value on honesty and transparency. Aren't all people like this? This isn't particular to Aboriginal people, surely. They talk about Aboriginal law and how these laws have functioned to inform Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people about how to live sustainably on the land. Non-Indigenous law operates differently in that it shifts to suit the interests of humans, basically stating that Aboriginal laws are better than modern laws. I especially like the traditional Makarrata trial method, where the accused ran the gauntlet of his accusers, threw spears at him, and a wounded thigh was taken as proof of guilt. It's completely logical, fair, and civilised. As part of the training, there was also significant dates we had to learn. Survival Day, the day formerly known as Australia Day. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples choose to mark Australia Day as a day to highlight the invasion of Australia by Europeans and to acknowledge the survival of their cultural heritage. I like how they lump all the Aboriginal people into one basket. They are all against Australia Day and see it as an invasion. What a load of crap. Apology Anniversary, National Close the Gap Day, Mabo Day, NAIDOC Week, just to name a few more. But the biggest one that I love the most, and perhaps the most divisive of all, Cultural and Ceremonial Leave. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander employees, excluding casuals, are entitled to cultural and ceremonial leave for the purposes of fulfilling ceremonial obligations as well as for sorry business, responsibilities to attend funerals. This includes paid leave up to a maximum 5 working days and unpaid leave up to 10 working days per calendar year. Isn't this discrimination? Only people of a certain ancestry are entitled to certain entitlements? As I said earlier, equality is no longer the goal. That was already attained. They're pushing this as far as they can now, elevating Indigenous Australians above everybody else, which, as I said, will create resentment and is a disaster just waiting to happen. This won't bring unity. This will bring the opposite. It's funny because the next question was about discrimination. Although it's bad to treat somebody less favourably or disadvantage people from a particular group, it's apparently okay to give Aboriginal employees more benefits than their non-Indigenous co-workers. This is equality in 2024. They also went on about modern slavery. I'm not sure how relevant that is to all this. They told us that alcohol, drugs and smoking are bad, okay? That personal emergency evacuation plans are somehow dependent on one's culture. Hey bruv, I don't run away from fires, I run through them. This one was very funny. Never make eye contact with Indigenous people because it's disrespectful. This obviously was one of the incorrect answers, but it's funny that they included it. Again, they're making Indigenous people sound like some kind of foreign being that we have to take special precautions around. It's very disparaging to Indigenous people. According to Munya Andrews, Aboriginal law is a children's story about magical and imaginary beasts and lands. Again, that's the wrong answer, but it's funny what they included. Believe it or not, I failed this training first time round, scoring only 60%. I needed 80%, so I had to spend another half hour going through it all again. It was a must-pass test. Failure means you can't work at the university. Luckily, they give you as many attempts as you need, but it takes time. One thing I quickly realised about this training is that it's not training at all. It's propaganda. Since the Voice defeat, they're pushing this more than ever. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'd be fired from the university for talking about this publicly like I'm doing now. We supposedly live in a free country, but you can't talk badly about First Nations training modules.